right, VMware Explore 2023, it's announcement day. And John, doozy, very first announcement coming out of general session today.
Yeah, I've got my Max size hat on to account for vSAN Max, but it's fun. We launched vSAN ESA a short while ago,
right.
And now we're all the way getting to U2 and seeing the uptick, seeing customers adopt it, also see some of the improvements that are coming in performance and other capabilities. It's been fun.
Absolutely, and one of those customers are here with us today, Mark Fournier from United States Senate Federal Credit Union. Mark, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, so Mark, we were talking, and Mark is one of the early adopters of Express Storage Architecture, I would love to get a little bit of a report card. How's that performance doing for you?
Blazingly and blisteringly fast. I don't think there's a really good way for me to underscore just how much performance we saw, except to say the facts, which was from the OSA architecture that we've been running for a number of years.
Yeah.
We had that HCI bench baseline. We were running our mixed workloads. Everything seemed great. But under the ESA architecture, it's an easy 10x performance gain. Easy.
That's incredible. And I'm curious, so you said you were using the original storage architecture for years. What was the driving factor to even look into the Express Storage Architecture?
Yeah, great question. So probably the largest driving factor has to do with our overall strategy over the coming years. So a big theme at VMware Explore right now is AI.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if you guys have heard of it. It's a big thing, yeah. And a couple of years ago, strategically, we decided that we really needed to start investing in data. And where that's led us to today is implementations with the former Pivotal folks, Greenplum. But we're also a smaller shop, so we're trying to run everything as consolidated as possible, and we wanted to make sure that if we're parallelizing access to data, we didn't want the infrastructure to be the thing that restricts that. So we wanted to make sure that we had that policy-driven management that we could apply granularly to the Greenplum, those data workloads, and not create all this crazy, noisy neighbor stuff to everything else.
Okay, so then you decide to jump in and say, well, let's give this a shot. How did you do that? What kind of benchmarking were you doing?
Early on, it was primarily HCI bench.
Okay.
A great tool, very, I can say convenient, but robust.
Sure.
There's a lot of knobs and levers that you can play with to see different performance profiles. But certainly from there also was taking some of our higher intensive use case workloads and running those on those clusters and seeing, well, where does that performance change? How does it change? Do we create any drama points for ourselves?
So what are those like platform applications? Is that SQL or databases?
Sure, yeah. SQL is a huge one. Tableau is another one. Yeah, and so certainly one of the newer points of adoption for us over the last 2 years that our data analytics team, our product team have been working through, and as we're trying to create this data-driven culture. And so one of the benchmark points is some of the Tableau prep, the ETL type functionality in the OSA. There's one particular workload we clocked it. It was 12 minutes of computation. So some of that CPU, some of that storage. Under the ESA, it went down to 4 minutes.
Wow.
And yes, again, some of that's the CPU, some of that's the storage, but like that storage architecture is the probably one of the largest drivers that we can see in the metrics.
Yeah, it's been interesting internally. We've been watching, working with performance engineers and having these discussions, and it's unbelievable the difference between, you said it 10x for you guys, but to see the difference between the original storage architecture and the now Express Storage Architecture, it's quite shocking actually.
And it's kind of fun because even though we launched the original 8UO, and there still were things that we couldn't quite make the cut for performance improvements that have come out in U1, and there's more coming in U2. This new platform, we're going to build a lot of cool stuff on it, and hopefully that'll, particularly for the data stuff, that's going to be part of the theme we'll be talking about at our podcast panel session, working with Sazala. It really is something we want to build as a data platform on, and it's good to hear that it's working and improving those workloads.
Yeah, and I think some of the stuff that Sazala and the team are working on, when you're looking at vSAN Max, that's especially appealing to us, being able to look at, okay, we're going to keep this focus on data. We're going to keep growing data. But we might not necessarily keep growing our CPU, our memory needs. And so being able to shift and have that flexibility to increase our storage, increase that performance profile in a little bit of a different way, I think is going to be very powerful.
That was going to be my final question for you. Was what do you think of vSAN Max, and is that on your radar?
It definitely is now, and we've had some really cool conversations, certainly on the floor here, and more to come throughout the rest of the conference. It seems like a no-brainer. Yeah. That's the thing that strikes me. Like, wow, this is a no-brainer. And some of the other things that I know they're working on with the ransomware protection, disaster. I mean, overall, it's very powerful.
We're looking forward to it. Myself, I'm just trying to figure out how to order 5 petabytes of flash as soon as I get home. So we're going big.
Yeah, Mark, thanks so much for joining us today, and enjoy the rest of your Explore.
Thanks for having me.